Big protests are planned, my friends. The left has organized a nationwide gathering at various Tesla dealerships to protest, which raises particularly interesting questions. Right now, we're dealing with overt acts of terrorism. There's no other definition. The far left is attacking Tesla, and we've got this great video. Jordan Klepper from The Daily Show basically says that it's not about Tesla. It's not. Elon, don't you understand? It's about Doge. But it kind of proves the point. Even he refers to the attacks as, quote, petty domestic terrorism. Think that's actually a fine way to put it. It is particularly petty. I don't think, maybe he's saying petty to imply it's not that big a deal. I think he's saying these individuals are petty and they're engaged in acts of domestic terrorism. Or whatever. Let's take it to its worst interpretation and give him the credit, right? Probably not, but he does say it. The audience cheers. It's kind of wild. On The Daily Show, when he shows news reports where they say people are opening fire, public shootings at multiple Tesla dealerships, the audience cheers. When they say fire bombs and Molotovs were lobbed at buildings, the audience cheers. And Klepper's like, wow. And then what does he say? Elon, it's not about Tesla. It's about your work with government, which is these leftists are engaged in attacks on these dealerships and private Tesla owners. There's more updates. There's more videos because of political reasons, which is terrorism. The results are in. There's Tesla individuals saying it's time for Elon to quit Doge. It's damaging the company. Tesla was booted from an auto show out of terrorism fears. And now we're hearing that the left is organizing protests. I ask you, my friends, honest question, and I'd appreciate you guys to comment and engage and explain to me, get the conversation rolling with Rumble Rants and Super Chats, because here it goes. If you've got ground level extreme violence, shootings, arson, physical attacks, and swattings on conservative personalities, if you've got at the highest level judicial attacks against the executive branch, and then in the public sphere, prominent liberals, we now have Rick Wilson calling for to end the life of Tesla. I want to be careful in the words that I use here. With all that happening, do you believe we should allow protests at Tesla? Many of you may say, but the First Amendment is at risk. What do? Do you take an Abraham Lincoln-esque approach and suspend the Constitution for the betterment of this nation? Are we at that level yet? Honest question, I don't know. But when you know they're engaged in terror, when they're cheering for terror in audiences on Jimmy Kimmel, Colbert, and The Daily Show, when prominent liberals like Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert are giving a wink-wink celebration of terror attacks against Tesla and against the individuals who own them, can we assume a nationwide protest is anything but furtherance of the terror campaign? It's a hard question. They are pressing us. They are backing us into a corner. The right likes the Constitution, likes free speech, has fought for it for a while. They want to challenge you now. At what point do you break? I don't have good answers for you. That's a question you're going to have to answer for yourself. Do we say, we know they engage in terror, we know they're advocating terror, we know that they want more, we're going to let them go have their protests? I'm not saying shut the protests down. I'm saying, is the response going to be that federal law enforcement or National Guard get called out immediately? Because in only about 1 week, the far left has announced a nationwide protest. One of these groups, one of these subgroups, I suppose, of the larger group that engaged in this terror, they were at a dealership that had been shot at in a public shooting. So, my friends, things are getting particularly hot. Now, welcome, I say to all of you, to the Rumble Morning Lineup. I'm your host, Tim Pool, of the Timcast. I guess it's a noon news show. It used to be the morning show, but now I guess it's not because it's noon, unless you're not in the East Coast. Shout out to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club. Thank you guys for joining us. Crowder now with the biggest show in the country in news. And I think he was #1 in the world. Oh, I'm sorry, in the country, because I don't know, the world, I don't track those. But Crowder had the biggest show in the country yesterday. Bravo. We were #4, almost at the top 3. But there's a lot of personalities out there that have entertaining content, and sometimes you just can't beat them. But I'll give special thanks to the Crowder team for rating this show. And, of course, for this hour, we'll be talking to you about the latest developments in the conflict between the executive branch, the judicial branch, and the ongoing street-level violence and those calling for it, the reactions from the left. And after this hour, we will be sending you over to Jeremy Hambley at the Quartering. So smash that like button and share the show. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday, the day before, I think every day this week, we have been the #1 live show for the noon slot, which is tremendous. We are taking this space over. So share the show. Let's continue the trend, and let's talk news, and let's expand cultural influence so we can save this great nation. But don't forget, we got delicious coffee. Do we have coffee? We do. We have Cast Brew coffee. Everybody loves Appalachian Nights. But hey, today, check the link in the description below or go to boonieshq.com. Clickboards, have you purchased your Step on Sneck and Find Out skateboard? It's our best seller. Everybody loves the graphic, but we do got a couple others for you. They're all basically just little meme drawings. If you believe the right of the people to keep, bear, and breed chickens shall not be infringed, then the 28th Amendment skateboard is for you. I know all of you out there got chicken coops. You got to hang this board up on your chicken coop. Demand your rights under the 20th Amendment. Not yet ratified, but I'm for it. And we should be allowed to have chickens. You know, guys, you know there are a lot of jurisdictions that make it illegal to own chickens? That should be unconstitutional. My friends, you can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. But let's jump to this news story now. Let me show you where the liberals are currently at in their overt calls for terrorism. I ain't playing around, man. At the lower level, you got viral videos on TikTok. We all know what they're saying when they advocate for assassinations, murder, violence, death, and attacks on Tesla. But what about your run-of-the-mill audience in New York? The Huffington Post has the story. Jordan Klepper isn't kidding around with this overt Elon Musk takedown. The Daily Show host took a pause after turning to this graphic message for the billionaire at a Tesla dealership. Okay. Here's the video. Let's hear what he has to say. It's only a couple minutes.
Taking to the streets or the parking lots.
Tonight, the FBI and ATF now investigating multiple cases of possible arson targeting Teslas and Cybertrucks.
This dramatic video shows multiple cars in flames. Police say the attacker used Molotov cocktails. It's the latest in more than a dozen instances of arson and vandalism targeting Tesla.
The same suspect shot more Teslas with a gun. Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle.
Wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism, huh? Cool. Wow. Okay, let me just say, nobody should be breaking the law and blowing up Teslas.
Agreed.
Especially because if you just wait a few minutes, they'll probably do it by themselves.
Okay.
And in case you're wondering why people might do this, some have been leaving helpful messages.
This is what Tesla employees in Encinitas saw when they arrived to work today.
Well, it gets a little. There is a funny news report. I'll give them that. In this news report, the company, I guess, tried to censor the graffiti that said Nazi scum, but they only censored the S. And so outside of politics, I'll give them that one. That is pretty funny to point out. But did you hear the audience? Did you hear what they were what was going on when these were clips of news reports where the anchors, the reporters were saying public shootings? I thought the left was upset about public shootings. No? Okay. I mean, these are electric cars. I thought they wanted to save the environment. No? Okay. Color me surprised, I guess. To be honest, not really. We knew that the left were hypocrites the whole time. And I've been saying this forever, my friends. Yo, there is no ideology behind wokeness. I describe wokeness as cult-like adherence to liberal orthodoxy. Whatever the left deems it so, it must be. So Stephen Colbert, who only a couple of years ago was bragging on his show about how he drives a Tesla, is now entertaining and cheering on individuals who attacked and vandalized Teslas. They'll argue, I'm just kidding, it's a joke. Every joke has its truth. It's where the humor comes from. And if the premise of your joke is that it's funny that terrorism is happening, we get the point of your joke. I'm not saying you can't make jokes about things, but the way you joke about things insinuates your feelings on them. Like, You can make racial jokes where it's apparent you're not really racist. And you can make racist jokes where it's like, bro, I can tell your intention is to attack an individual based on race. Colbert's jokes operate under the premise that he actually wants the violence. And the only reason he's not advocating for it is the CBS legal department prevents him from doing so. He then says he appreciates the tireless efforts of someone who stole every tire off Tesla vehicles in a parking lot, and he wins a pun award for doing so. You don't need to say you appreciate their efforts. You can say everybody recognized it was tireless efforts. Right. The point is, it's a spin. The story we covered yesterday, just to add context to those who didn't see it. Jimmy Kimmel inciting domestic terrorism. So they say, MAGA furious at Jimmy Kimmel about vandalizing Teslas. Now, I know we did talk about this. We showed this clip yesterday, along with Colbert, just to explain. At the highest levels of mainstream liberal punditry, this is funny to them. I want to stress that point one more time, though, just so y'all understand. You've got leftists advocating for shooting up public buildings. I just want to make sure I say that again. I'm a gun guy. I'm not like the gun guy, and I can tell you everything about guns. I got a lot of guns. I'm pro 2A. I'm probably more 2A than most people. I've had members of Congress come here and I say, do the American people have the right to keep and bear nuclear weapons? And they go, no. I'm like, you're wrong. They do. Absolutely, they do. Private companies have nukes. Deal with it. Back in the day, when they enshrined the Second Amendment, there were corsairs and privateers. They were issued letters of marque. Private individuals owned warships. They had cannons, the most powerful weapons at the time. They had them. Grape shot. Man, they could wipe out a coastal town with their fleets. So none of that changes. I'm not saying people should have these things, but 2A protects it. Change the Constitution. You got a problem. That being said, we're now dealing with Democrats celebrating shootings. The point is this. It's not that they're for gun rights. It's that they don't want you to be able to defend yourself. We see this all the time with their riots. When the BLM riots were happening, the COVID riots, George Floyd, whatever you want to call it, they celebrated when police arrested their enemies. They demanded the police arrest Kyle Rittenhouse. They demanded that people who opposed them get arrested. Now, they claimed, abolish the police, abolish the police. And then as soon as the police started bending the knee, well, and things were different, wasn't it? There were several instances. Once, in Wisconsin, in one instance, there was a group of BLM rioters, protesters, organized by some locals. They were looking for some young girls they believed to be missing, some 14-year-olds. They showed up to a house wrongly and firebombed it. They caught it on fire. The fire department came to put the fire out. Once the fire was out, they firebombed it and set it on fire again. And then it got put out. Turns out the girls were actually just at a friend's house the whole time and nobody was missing. This is mob rule, I suppose. The same individuals who organized that showed up to another man's house they deemed racist, and they were protesting in front of it. This guy had reason to fear for his life. They had set fire to another house already. His mistake, he brandished a shotgun through the window. Can't brandish a weapon. So the police were called, went to his door, and arrested him, and the Black Lives Matter protesters celebrated the police arresting a guy they did not like. It is never about abolishing the police. It is never about ending the wars. It is about seizing control. A great example, of course, is the adamant fervor among the left to defund Israel. The military-industrial complex, they say. But they'd put that money as fast as possible into Ukraine because it's not really about the military-industrial complex. It's about them getting what they want. Now, the problem? What do they want? Honestly, I had no idea. There's no ideology backing what they do. Case in point, they're torching electric cars. They're shooting up public buildings, things they're supposed to be against, but are now for, cheering for it. Here's a post for you from Rick Wilson on Blue Sky. Rick Wilson, you know him, you love him. I guess he's supposed to be a conservative, but he's not. He's indistinguishable from the left. He posted this: kill Tesla, save the country. Really? And he posted a picture of a flaming Cybertruck, one that blew up, and we haven't got any answers on. I mean, I got to be honest. At what point do we say these individuals have crossed the line? Now, I'm not going to buy a subscription to his Substack, so I ain't reading the whole thing. But I can show you a bit of what Rick Wilson has to say. Tesla is no longer just a car company, he writes. It's a bank for fascists, a goose-stepping hedge fund bankrolling the political fever dreams of Elon Musk and his Doge dreams of controlling the ruins of the American government as he becomes Earth's first trillionaire and then the emperor of Mars. Musk's power and wealth are inseparable from Tesla's absurdly inflated stock price. If the Tesla bubble pops, so does Elon's ability to keep throwing money around like a drunken Russian oligarch at a Macau casino. Elon has a weak spot, attack. I'm going to say this again. He literally says to kill and to attack. Now, my friends, are you going to come to me and say, surely this man just means in the political context? Yeah, I don't know. He posted a picture of a flaming Cybertruck. What we are witnessing going on right now is not people that are shorting Tesla stock. We are witnessing right now, as he published this just yesterday, people physically attacking. We're beyond the world of interpretations and innuendo. We are quite literally in the fray of whether underground level terror attacks on private vehicle owners. Guys, some of these people have no idea what's going on politically. Y'all told them, liberals, to buy electric cars, so they did. Even Colbert bought one. Now you're threatening violence and death against them for having them because they want you to get rid of the cars. They want nobody to drive them. They would destroy this company. They would firebomb it. They would shoot them up. They would vandalize the buildings. They will torch charging stations. They've done this and more. So perhaps when Rick Wilson comes out and says attack, I don't take that as figurative or political. I don't. Here's a question for you guys. You can comment. At what point do we actually bring charges? It's an honest question. Do we, as reasonable and rational individuals, say, no, Rick Wilson, we're not going to go there. He's not telling people to physically attack. I know he wrote the words attack. I know he said it's a weak spot. I know he said kill Tesla. I know he said that this is how you stop Elon Musk and all of these things. We're not going to go there. We're not going to charge him or arrest him. Or is there the inverse? This is an imminent threat. There is an organized protest. Post-millennial reports, activist group Indivisible Tennessee to stage Tesla protests in Franklin, Memphis, Knoxville, and Chattanooga. There are efforts for a nationwide, now I don't know how much they can actually pull this off, but there are calls for, I believe it's the 29th. Is that what they, they're saying in 2 days. Let me see if I can pull this up, because I believe there was a March 29th Tesla protest plan. Yes, okay, Tesla takedown. That's what it is. The biggest day of action, March 29th. Indeed. Let me see if I can get this story. And this is just one of them. Here we go. I think this might be it. Economic Times, the biggest day of action looms as Tesla takedown protesters escalate campaign against Elon Musk's controversial policies. Here are the dates. They say they're targeting 500 Tesla showrooms on March 29th. Okay, let me just ask you. I'm asking you legitimately and honestly to give me your thoughts. When we have overt acts of terror, and then we have a guy saying attack and kill, you must stop Elon Musk. Is that an imminent threat? There is a timeline in place for when these people will descend on these dealerships, these showrooms. There's already firebombing and shootings. Is the single word attack, is it enough? In any other normal context, I'd say fight, attack, etc. don't mean much. If we are saying it's a 2024 election, it's February before the assassination attempt, and Kamala Harris came out and she was like, these people are weak. They don't understand the economy. They don't understand the middle class. And if anyone explained it to them in a debate, we'd win. So attack the issue, right? You get it. Someone saying attack in that context, you're kind of like, okay. Now, don't get me wrong. When Trump says we got to fight like hell, they tried impeaching him, imprisoning him, and disqualifying from the presidency because he said fight like hell. I'm not kidding. Remember that January 6th? Speaking at the Ellipse, he said we got to fight like hell or something like that. And they went, that proves it. He said fight. And then January 6th happened. Okay, you want to play the game? Sure. Rick Wilson said kill and attack with massive protests planned and terror attacks already happening across the country. Lock them up, right? Those are their rules, not mine. That's how insane it is getting in this country. I want to give a quick shout out to our friend Kyle Kalinske, whose brain has turned to rotten jello. He says, here's a meme. And you've got 3 crying guys in a MAGA hat. Boycott Bud Light. Chad Guy doesn't say anything. Boycott Target. Chad Guy says nothing. Boycott the NFL. Chad Guy says nothing. And then when Chad Guy says boycott Tesla, the MAGA guy, he cries blood. First, I'd like to point something out. When the right decided not to buy beer, the left got angry. When the right stopped shopping at Target, when the right decided not to buy Bud Light, the left got angry. When the right said we're not shopping at Target, the left got angry. When the right said we're going to boycott the NFL, which actually was first, by the way, the left got angry and said you're bigots and you're racist. And they actually gave Colin Kaepernick ice cream billboards over it. And when the left said boycott Tesla, none of us care. But when y'all started firebombing and shooting at people's cars and at dealerships and saying kill, attack, and mocking and laughing, yeah, we got a problem with that. Now, here's what I find funny. This is what Kyle Kalinske presents as a meme, right? He gets roasted, but doesn't matter. That ratio means money for him, so what does he care? He posts this at 9:19 p.m. Here's another one for you. It's the car salesman meme. Car salesman slaps roof of a Cybertruck, and then it's an explosion. He posted that a few hours earlier. Are we concerned about your boycott, or are you threatening to bomb and destroy Tesla vehicles? Now, look, you can try and come out and say, no, I'm talking about how they're unreliable and sometimes they blow up. They don't. It's not a thing. Terror attacks blow them up. So I don't take this, and I don't believe you if you're trying to make some joke about how they just blow up themselves when y'all are blowing them up. Case in point, how about this? When he posts this meme of Superman seeing Tesla on fire, and then Superman puts his clothes back on and walks away whistling, letting it burn. He posted that, I believe, just shortly before this other meme. As people are firebombing Tesla facilities, Kyle's joke is that even Superman shouldn't do anything about it. Just walk away and let it burn. And when they slap the vehicles, they explode. And y'all are just mad because we're not buying them anymore. I think these people are evil. I think they are overtly evil. Well, my friends, updates from our good friend, Dan Bongino. I will always give this man the biggest shout out ever because he walked away from the biggest live podcast in the world, one of the biggest podcasts in the world, one of the most influential personalities in media, to be a public servant, presumably at a standard government salary rate. That's incredible. But to be fair, the honor and the privilege to go after these criminals and protect this country is worth it for so many, and we all recognize that. But Dan Bongino himself, he made a great sacrifice to do the right thing and serve this country, and I respect it tremendously. He tweeted, "Communication and transparency are my priorities. We work for you, the American citizen. Our teams are actively working on the Tesla incidents and the swatting incidents, along with our other responsibilities to keep the homeland safe." I respect it. And I'm glad we got someone like Dan who is actually doing it. I hope so. In this tweet he posted, FBI investigates attacks on Tesla dealerships and cars amid Musk protest, from Axios. They report the FBI is investigating attacks targeting Tesla vehicles and dealerships of the EV company and related swatting incidents. There's been a spate of incidents that President Trump and other administration officials have denounced as acts of domestic terrorism. What is so hard, Axios, about just saying it literally is? That's the world we live in, huh? They say amid the Tesla takedown protests, Attorney General Pam Bondi has threatened severe consequences. Meanwhile, Musk's role as senior advisor to the president appears to have hit the company's sales in the first quarter of this year, and some Tesla owners have posted bumper stickers on their cars to distance themselves from the billionaire. You see the game they're playing? It is not that Elon Musk's role as senior advisor to the president is hurting the company's sales. Technically fine. I'd go ahead and say maybe it was the violent acts of terrorism that has Tesla owners terrified they'll be killed. When people are putting stickers on their cars saying, I bought this before I knew Elon was crazy, they may as well write, please, I'm a middle-class family man. Do not destroy my vehicle. I need it to get to work. During the Summer of Love riots, there were signs posted on many windows at various locations, stores across the country. They said, please don't hurt us. Some of them said, we support you. It's really sad and terrifying. One building, it said, let me see if I can find this actually. Let me see if this is what the left wants for you. See if I can find it. Yeah, I think I got it. Here you go. Let this be an example. Here's the image. We get it, Instagram. We're not interested in your notifications. Single mother owned. Please show mercy. This is all I have. Wow. The future the left wants for you. 94 weeks ago, mind you. Long time, huh? Long time. I don't believe the reason people aren't buying Teslas is because they just decided they don't like Musk. I think the average person is single mother, please have mercy. And they've decided, I'm going to sell this because I can't be the target of a terror attack. It's crazy, isn't it? They're willing to go into the audience of primetime TV shows and cheer on the terror. That's what we're dealing with at a national level. I don't want to live that way, but those signs that I showed you, they were all over the place. I went to Oakland during the protests it was almost 10 years ago now. It was 8 years ago. And it's fascinating when you see a Chinese-owned nail salon with communist fists in the windows calling for revolution. And I'm asking my friends, I'm like, they're immigrants, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, do they really want revolution? The locals there tell you the reason we put these things in our windows is because we don't want a brick thrown through them. If you do not post the symbols of the cult, they will attack you. During these protests, there was a woman who was pro-Trump standing on about a foot and a half up on a light post. And a leftist grabbed her and ripped her down, and she smacked her head on the ground and started bleeding. And I believe she went unconscious. I don't know what happened. They celebrate these things. It's terrifying what we're currently dealing with. Now, of course, as I pointed out, it looks like on the 22nd, we are going to have a handful of these protests in Tennessee. Here's a question for you guys to comment on. As I mentioned earlier, do we allow this? It's a tough question, isn't it? Are we really going to stop a protest? Maybe not, but we may have to deploy National Guard. Based on all of the violence, vandalism, and terror we've seen so far, with the swattings especially, there's intent to kill. When they're shooting up dealerships, like they're literally bringing guns and opening fire, the sales reps could be killed. The janitors could be killed. Customers could be killed. Now they're going to be swarming these Tesla showrooms and dealerships. Should we just be like, I don't know, do your thing? Will standard policing be enough? Will we need SWAT? Will they need special weapons? Hey, man, I don't have the answers. You tell me. As we mentioned on the 29th, 500 coordinated actions. They're going to say the Tesla takedown movement is gaining traction as Musk faces increasing criticisms for his policies and influence in the U.S. government. With growing opposition, activists hope to force Elon Musk out by lowering Tesla's market value. During a mobilizing call on Wednesday, organizers announced that Tesla protesters are organizing their biggest day of action to date, with 500 demonstrations at Tesla showrooms worldwide planned for March 29th, as per a report by The Verge. As more people have turned out to protest CEO Elon Musk's dismantling of the federal government, the protests, which began at a few Tesla locations in early February, have expanded to hundreds of locations nationwide. The so-called Tesla takedown protesters, who were chanting slogans and waving signs, have turned into a focal point for opposition to Musk's actions as the head of Doge, which include firing tens of thousands of government employees and ending federal aid programs. While unrelated to the protests, there's also been an increase in violence, vandalism, and arson against Tesla showrooms, which Elon Musk and President Donald Trump have called domestic terrorism. Actors, filmmakers, congressmen, federal employees, academics, and journalists participated in the hour-long call, which attempted to avoid President Trump's reference to terrorism in favor of Musk and the attempt to devalue the company's stock. They're going to say the company's values decreased from $1 trillion earlier this year to $739 billion today. Since the start of the year, Tesla's stock has lost almost 40% of its value to a combination of declining sales and increased competition both domestically and internationally, which has fueled growing skepticism about the company's prospects. You want to see how crazy this gets? What if I were to tell you that Democrats are cheering their own demise? Would you be surprised? No, these people don't have ideology. Well, let's roll, baby. We've got, let me see if I can pull this one up. Here we go. Kevin O'Leary nails it on multiple points. Anyone who lights a car on fire should go to jail, no exceptions. Tim Walz is a moron because Minnesota's pension plan is backed by Tesla stock. Did you see the video where Tim Walz says, listen to this. Let me actually pull up the audio for you and unmute this.
This on the iPhone. I'm saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone. They've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So, and if you own one, we're not blaming you. You can take dental floss and pull the Tesla thing off, you know, and take out, just telling you.
Insane. It's a cult, man. Well, it turns out Minnesota's backing their pension funds with Tesla stock. So as it goes down, so do they. Because Tesla was championed by the left and the left got on board. But they don't like that Elon Musk thinks the government is bloated and corrupt. So they're going to burn down dealerships, destroy the company stock. But I'll level with you. The reason the company stock is going down is not entirely because leftists are angry about it. You know, the stock is going down for a variety of reasons. It's going down because there's competition. There's new batteries coming out of China, new chargers, that are coming out of China, which work better, some argue. And so there are questions. But additionally, everything's gone down. Stocks have been falling in general. Some have gone up, many have gone down. And so, yeah, Tesla's gone down quite a bit. Me personally, I'll buy the dip. Tesla's a massive company. I'm not going to let terrorism get in the way. But I'm going to show you what Kevin O'Leary has to say. This one's actually pretty amazing. We will unmute this one here. He nails it. Now, of course, I do want to stress, my friends, smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. We've this week continually hit the #1 spot for the live show for the noon hour. #1, biggest stream in the country. I mean, it's all thanks to you guys. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. You can go to castbrew.com, of course, and you can join the Discord server. Timcast.com Discord server has 20,000 plus individuals. There's shows. There's a fitness room. You want to lose weight. You want to make friends. I ask you this, please don't just be a passive observer of the news. Please get actively involved. And if everybody remains active, that means just talk to people. Don't forget where we are. Stay tuned. Come the midterms, we're going to win. But if we detach and dissociate from what's going on, stop paying attention or whatever, for whatever reason, we will be surprised to find that come January of 2027, Trump's going to be impeached. Listen to this from Kevin O'Leary. Really amazing.
You should go to jail. You're a criminal. I don't think we have to talk about it in any other context. And all those cars have cameras in them, and those dealerships have cameras. You're beyond being stupid when you do that. You're going to go to jail, and you now have a government that just got their mandate. They can't wait to find idiots that do this. You're going to spend 5 to 20 years in prison. If they get them on terrorism, which I think is a stretch, they will have no parole, no shortened sentence. They'll rot in hell in prison for 20 years. And frankly, as far as I'm concerned, that's okay. Breaking in, shooting a car, setting on fire, nothing to do with the politics, nothing to do with Tesla. You are a criminal, and you should go
what about the broader
to
question
jail.
about the protest factor? I mean, you heard
What
Tim Walz.
protest? You're a criminal.
I'm talking about Tim Walz and his comments about the Tesla stock. He says it gives him a boost to see that stock going down.
That poor guy didn't check his portfolio and his own pension plan for state. It's beyond stupid what he did. He's talking down a 3.5% weighting in his own pension plan. I mean, what's the matter with that guy? He doesn't check the well-being of his own constituents in his state. I mean, that's their investment fund. Point, what a bozo.
Yeah, my friends. Take a look at this from Bill Malugan. As Governor Walz gloats about Tesla stock dropping, records from the Minnesota State Board of Investment show that as of 6/30/24, the state of Minnesota has 1.6 million shares of Tesla in its retirement fund and 211,000 shares of Tesla in its non-retirement fund. I've reached out to Walz's office to ask if Minnesota still holds Tesla, or if they sold since then, we'll update when I hear back. But at least less than a year ago, 1.6 million shares. Let's pull up Tesla stock right now. It's currently sitting at 232. They got 1.6 million. Currently, the Minnesota State Pension Fund is sitting on $371.2 million in their pension funds. That's amazing. Let's do this. Let's go year to date. It's down 38%. So let's take a look. We don't necessarily need year to date because we only need to go back to... Oh, we don't want year to date. Sorry. We want 1 year. In 1 year. Hey, actually, I got to be honest. They ain't doing too bad. Now, from its peak, we'll go there. Let me pull in the stock for you guys. Actually see what I'm looking at. So from the peak, Tesla was at $479. But if we go back to June when they purchased it, it's $178. Minnesota actually is still up 32% from their initial investment. So it ain't so bad. But let's hold on there a minute. How must they have felt when they hit that beautiful high in December of 2024 at 479? How must they have felt in January when it's sitting at 400? I mean, they must have felt pretty good in February at 350. I mean, we're talking about more than double. So let's talk about where they've gone in the last 6 months. What do we have here? Let's do 1 month decline, 34% down. From their high point at 479. I want to get the exact numbers here. So let's just do 479. It is obviously more than double. But this means that they had $766 million in their pension fund get wiped out as the stock declines. And Tim Walz is happy about it. He's happy about it. It's sad. It's really sad. Man, that's what it is to be on the left. That's where we're currently at. They are cheering for the destruction of this country, of its jobs, of their own pension funds in Minnesota. That's who Tim Walz is. It's kind of scary if you think about it. But my friends, you know what? I can only say it so many times. I can say it in a bunch of different ways. I think the left is a chaotic, destructive force. They represent no ideology. They represent no people other than their chaotic murmuration. Tim Walz doesn't have a goal. If Tim Walz was focused on the betterment of his state, what would you get? He'd come out and say, I understand people don't like Tesla. Unfortunately for us in Minnesota, we tied our pension funds to this because it's an electric car company. It made sense for us. But now what's happening has been really bad. Maybe we should sell these things off. Maybe they did. Maybe they saw the price going down. They sold out at 300. Maybe that's why he doesn't care. But I think the reality is they have no goals other than hatred. They hate Trump. It's their identity. They have no unifying principles. NBC ran a poll asking individuals which Democratic individual represents the party. Nobody does. The highest number they could get to was 10% with AOC, the largest single faction. Kamala Harris at 9%. So who are the Democrats? There's no leadership. There's no ideology. There's no plan. Well, okay. So then what are we up against? Listless, violent, hateful terrorists. That's a big threat to this country. What do you do? Let's take a look at this story real quick so I can show you the ramifications and the goals and the desires of these terror attacks. Tesla booted from Vancouver International Auto Show over safety. The intention of terror. Why Rick Wilson was saying to kill and attack. The Daily Beast reports Tesla's display at this week's Vancouver International Auto Show was removed by event organizers because of safety issues revolving around Elon Musk-led, the Musk-led company. An auto show spokesperson said in a statement that Tesla was removed following multiple opportunities to voluntarily withdraw. Primary concern is the safety of attendees, exhibitors, and staff. Safety? What do you mean the safety? Is it that you think terrorist attacks might occur at your auto show? Because protests aren't a safety issue. People can wiggle little signs in the air. Nobody's mad about it. Oh, it's because they're opening fire on Tesla dealerships. Right. Okay, that I understand. This is the intention of the terrorism. They're going to say Tesla has recently been the target of protests. Yeah, sorry. On Tuesday, a person in black shot and set fire to several Tesla vehicles at a repair facility in Vegas. That's not a protest. That's terrorism. And that's why the auto show says no. Tesla backer says Musk must reduce Trump work as 46,000 Cybertrucks are recalled. I do want to stress, whenever they say Teslas are recalled, usually it's an update to the software. But it looks like this one is they have to fix an exterior panel that could detach while driving. They go on to mention it came as protesters announced on Wednesday they were planning what they described as the biggest day of action against Tesla, 500 locations nationwide. Oh, boy. It'll be springtime, my friend. Oh, is it spring now? Today's the first day of spring, right? Which, that's right. Officially springtime. Spring begins today at 5:24 p.m. Really? It starts at 5:24? Okay, I guess. Anyway, when the weather gets warm, the lunatics come out. And this is the intention of the terror. So welcome to the fray, I guess. I'm curious what you guys think. I'm not a politician. I'm not a political leader. I don't intend to lead anybody into battle, storm the battlefield. I'm a guy who's on the internet reading the news quite a bit, who has thoughts and opinions and complains a lot. That's about it, right? So when it comes to these great questions, I can only tell you how I feel, but I don't know how you should act. That is to say, here's a story from the New York Times. Judges fear for their safety amid a wave of threats. Another story. Defiance and threats in deportation case renew fear of constitutional crisis. And then we have from NBC News, judge warns of possible consequences after DOJ pushback on questions about deportation flights. Right now, it's an issue that I've brought up quite a bit. We are facing a constitutional crisis in this country and a moral crisis. We are men of action, are we not? That means we do not tolerate evil. But the Constitution, as it's structured, now tolerates or would force our hand into protecting said evil. This morning, I had a story for you guys. A judge has ordered 2 male prisoners to be placed in a female prison in defiance of Trump's executive orders. Trump is the executive. He handles law enforcement, so he dictates how these things should operate. The judges can check the president, and they've issued a preliminary injunction saying, no, those male prisoners suffer from gender dysphoria and must be returned to female prisons. The 8th Amendment says there shall be no cruel and unusual punishment. Which one violates the Constitution? Placing men in a women's prison, violating the rights of those women? Or is it placing trans males in a male prison, violating their cruel and unusual punishment? Well, I know where we all stand. The left is going to say the inverse. If Donald Trump says to the court, I will not take action that violates the 8th Amendment, we have a constitutional crisis, right? A judge has so ordered it. Now, look, there are some people saying judges can't order a president, blah, blah. Well, they can. They absolutely can. I am fine with it. I respect that system. In issues of foreign affairs, you have no jurisdiction. The judges can interpret the law domestically and in some circumstances internationally, depending on what those actions may be. But when the president is negotiating foreign affairs with other world leaders, the judges can't intervene. To a great deal, there's rare circumstances. I know. Rogue presidents, impeachment. Typically, the remedy for rogue president action as to their executive authority is impeachment. But you see, Congress is held by the Republicans because the American people mostly support Donald Trump. So we have this question before us. Do we allow terrorism? The answer is no, we don't. Okay. Do we then enforce the law against these individuals to the greatest extent? Of course, the answer is yes, we do. When these people go to prison and use that as martyrdom, prop up their channels, get followers, like it's an ice bucket challenge, it will inflame and exacerbate the left, who are not motivated by logic, reason, or a betterment of this nation. They are motivated by social acceptance among their cult to be elevated to the highest levels. Greenpeace, for instance, says getting arrested is a badge of honor. These people would view it no differently. They've been going on TikTok and other social media platforms, calling for assassinations. They are now celebrating and cheering on publicly with their own faces in the audience terrorism. They are now saying they're going to gather at 500 locations across the country for a protest. Well, when the media on the left reports terrorism, they call it protests. So if I'm going to interpret the language as they use it, we can expect to see waves of terrorism. Should the DOJ intervene and shut these protests down, or at the very least, heavily restrict them? Honest question. But wouldn't that violate 1A? I don't know. I suppose you'd say no, because these groups have already engaged in acts of terrorism. So now we're going to bar them because it's clearly illegal. Actually, I'd agree. I think that if there are groups of people engaged in a wave of terrorism targeting specific locations, and then a group announces mass gatherings to protest those locations, I actually think it doesn't violate 1A to say there is a difference between peaceable assembly and what y'all are doing. We're not going to let you do it. So the police should have a heavy presence and shut most of them down. And what I mean by that is y'all can still march, y'all can still gather, but you are not going to set foot at these locations. You will be directed away from them. Or maybe you would say people they should be dispersed. Now, what about the judges? Right now we have a battle between two ideological factions for the control of a single government. Kind of crazy to say, isn't it? But you know it's true. Since, I believe, the past month, Trump has faced 15 injunctions. Biden only faced 14. In Trump's first term, it was 64. And before him, Barack Obama, it was, I believe, 16. 64 federal injunctions for Trump in his first term and 15 already. And that was the entirety of Biden's term I think Trump might have 14 or 15. So already in a month, we have 4 years worth of injunctions. Trump's deporting criminals. What's the injunction for? Trump says don't put men in women's prisons. What's the injunction for? They have issued an injunction on every single move Trump has made. Okay, not literally, but overwhelmingly. That is two factions in the government fighting for control of one system. Now, checks and balances normally are not that extreme. But if nearly every move the president makes is effectively going to war with another branch of government of a different political persuasion, let me say it like this. The gutting of USAID and the actions of DOJ is going after this deep state bureaucratic political faction. They are countering back. So there you have it. Two forces within government are fighting for control. Will it be that one eventually dissipates and gives up? Perhaps. Could it be that eventually one side says, ain't no way, and it escalates to something a bit more dramatic? Some zealots have already tried to kill the president. It's terrifying. Now, what happens when you add to that the direct targeting of right-wing individuals and street-level acts of terrorism across the country? Call it whatever you want, my friends. You tell me, because I'm more than happy to just sit back, put on, I don't know, what video games do I got lying around? I ain't going to be playing Assassin's Creed or Dragon Age. I don't know. Not going to play Civ 7. Ooh, that's a bummer. Marvel Rivals. I like Trials. Those games are always good. You know, motorcycle game, you jump up and down. How about I just kick back, put on a good old movie of some sort, and forget all about it? A lot of people do. You know, the views of news content ain't nearly as big as entertainment content. We all know it. Most people want to just sit back and hang out. You know, it's fascinating because I heard the argument again, and I can't for the life of me actually believe it. The argument, once again, that civil war is not likely, not possible, because just go outside and go talk to your neighbors, right? This has got to be true, right? You guys right now listening, you go outside, you walk around your city, talk to your neighbors. Who's talking about fighting somebody? Who's talking about civil war? Nobody. Nobody is. Certainly it can't happen. Yeah. Just like how in 1861, when residents of Atlanta went outside to their Atlanta community and I said, civil war, and everyone said, what are you talking about? We all agree, ain't nobody fighting. I can't believe people actually say this, but I guess kind of I can. Because people can't see the forest for the trees. You're in it. You walk around and say, hey, have you seen the big forest? I'm like, what do you mean? The forest. I'm like, I don't see a forest. There's a couple of trees in front of me. In what reality would a Southerner in the Civil War walk outside and fist fight his neighbor? That's not what Civil War was or is. Civil War was the North and the South. In Spain, it was urban and it was rural. Of course, if you walk outside of your house, everyone's going to agree on politics. There are some locations where it's cross. Really funny. In Brunswick, Maryland, there are two buildings, two houses, and one's got MAGA and one's got pride flag. And I'm like, they're just neighbors going at each other. That's kind of funny, but they're not fighting. But what happens when you actually take a look at the dealerships or you take a look at the political persuasions? You want to ask the question about Civil War, wear far left clothing, and go to a right-wing area. What you'll find is no one's going to attack you or anything like that, but you're going to get looks and you're going to get questions. And then as a right-wing individual, wear a MAGA hat and go to New York. Yeah, you'll get your ass kicked. Blair White famously walked around LA with a MAGA hat on and got attacked. Blair's trans. That's how crazy things are getting. I don't know that Civil War happens, but in all of this time, the past 8 years, the past 10 years, has it been this bad? Summer of Love riots were really bad, we know, but they were indiscriminate, wild acts of rage. Leftists were attacking their own cities. Today, we have Donald Trump fighting with another faction. It's only been 2 months, literally 2 months now. Two factions fighting for control of one government. It literally is happening with lawsuits and judges blocking Donald Trump. Within the government, two branches are smashing into each other. And then you've got the direct targeting of conservatives with the swattings. I don't think it's ever been this bad. But by all means, man, please tell me I'm wrong and tell me where the off-ramp is. Maybe we'll find it. I don't know. But we're going to grab some super chats and Rumble rants from yous right now. So smash that like button, share the show with everyone you know, and I'm going to make sure y'all hear it. Symbolically, every like represents how many years in prison you want for Dr. Fauci. He lied to Congress. We know he did. Newsweek reported it. So how many years will that be? As of right now on Rumble, it's 2,500 years. And it's 3,400 years on YouTube. How does YouTube have more likes? Come on, guys. You guys on Rumble should be smashing that like button. Let's grab some of your comments, rants, and super chats. However, you can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. And one more shout out to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club. Really do appreciate you guys blasting out my morning show, helping to make it one of the top shows in the world. Yesterday, the morning show is bigger than Timcast IRL. I'll let you know a secret, though. Before we launched Timcast IRL, the morning show actually was the 34th biggest podcast in the world by podcast rankings. It was actually huge. The morning show, at one point, I think it was in 2020, it was the biggest show of right persuasion with in the political sphere. You could argue Joe Rogan, of course, and all that, but at the time, he wasn't really political. In terms of news and politics, we were getting, I think it was like 150 million downloads per month. I was working every single day, nonstop, double shifts, and it was a different time to be. But then when we launched Timcast IRL, we split our viewership up, and then the morning show started to decrease because more people started watching the conversational Timcast IRL. Now with the new Rumble lineup, looks like the Tim Pool morning show, rumble.com/Timcast, is back on top. And it's all thanks to you guys. It's thanks to you at Rumble. It's thanks to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club for coming and watching and supporting the show. I really do appreciate it, guys. It does mean a lot. And I hope that we can create a sphere of influence of meritocracy, in intelligence, respect, truth. Opposing the violence would be nice. Disgruntled Vet says, please shout out the Major Richard Starr Act. If passed, it gives vets who were medically retired out of the military all benefits of a retired military, including pay. Hear, hear. I respect that. Just 10 says, Crowder always overlaps, and I have to manually leave his stream to come to this stream. Can Rumble make a continue with Crowder button or something so we can flow right to this show when it starts? I believe, I don't want to speak on behalf of Rumble, but the idea was, guys, we're going to create a morning lineup and we're going to support each other. It really is cultural. There's not a big technological component. The raid function, as we do it, exists. And we're basically saying, we want you guys to be a part of this sphere of influence and this network effect where I'll shout out Crowder every opportunity I get. Crowder tells you guys to come watch my show. I tell you guys to go watch Jeremy at the Quartering and soon to be Russell Brand. And the goal is just to say, let's all use our network to help promote and benefit each other. The reason why anyone appears on anyone else's show is to try and market themselves and build audience. People tell me, hey, man, I started following you because I saw you on Dave Rubin. Others say I saw you on Piers Morgan. Some people say I saw you on Fox News. Most people say I saw you on Rogan. And it is those appearances that help make my show bigger because people learn about it. That's basically what Rumble's strategy was. Can we just have everybody be like, go watch the next guy? So we thought about it and said, okay, we're going to need to like split up the hour so people don't overlap because my morning show was at 10 o'clock before. We moved it to noon. Easy for me to do. I'm a one-man show for the most part. The reality is you guys are just choosing to make this thing a reality. It's not like Rumble has a simple button where literally 100% of every viewer instantly appears on a new show like it was Fox News or something. The truth is the views that we are getting are the choice of the viewer to say, I'm going to go watch that show, which really does mean a lot. It means it's tremendous. So Crowder now number one in the country in news, and yesterday number one in the country of all live streams. And my morning stream was the fourth biggest in the country. That's crazy. You guys rock. I really do appreciate it, man. I made a joke on another segment where I was like, I'm rather surprised to, when did I say this? I don't remember. I'm surprised to find out that I have fans who actually, no, I'm actually surprised to find out I have fans. I just, complain on the internet, but I appreciate it. Groaning Phoenix says, if you can afford it, time to make Tesla the next great American car company like Ford and Chevy of old. I was half joking when I said, to own the libs, you got to buy a Tesla. But I ended up getting like 1,000 retweets on it. And I'm like, I'm half kidding. But it is true. They're so salty and angry about Tesla. Look, if Tesla stock started to go up like crazy, and I think it will, they're going to be so pissed off. You know what I mean? All right, let's go. Joe Fedor says, Tim, I saw your morning episode about the trans prisoners. To avoid, as you said, the constitutional concerns, what would your opinion be on solitary at the women's prison as a compromise? Agreed. I agree. So if you have biological male prisoners that want to be housed in a female prison, those two individuals don't have to be in solitary. They can be together in an isolated ward or area, because I believe it would be cruel and unusual punishment for female prisoners to be housed with male prisoners. Men and women are different. Now, some may argue, yeah, but trans prisoners are effeminate or feminized or under hormone therapy, and they're going to get raped in the male prison. Yeah, guys, anybody getting raped in a male prison is an atrocity and is cruel and unusual punishment. No one is special in that regard. We know it happens and it should be stopped. I don't see why that justifies or qualifies males to be put in a female prison. I mean no disrespect to anybody who's trans. I'm saying if you want to balance the rights of all people, you can't be doing what you're doing. All right. Batman says, missed the mark by not making a bear chicken. A bear chicken? We can make the right to keep and bear chickens. Oh, and put a chicken, but it's a bear or something. Photon Drift says they have jailed Proud Boys for less than that. Indeed, they did. The Proud Boys made a mistake, and this is the naivety of the right. There was an event where Gavin McInnes was speaking in New York. Far leftists surrounded the Republican, it was a Young Republicans Club or something like that, and were threatening people, were harassing people, throwing things at people. Several of the Proud Boys were leaving, and they were stalked by far leftists. Far leftists were throwing things. Eventually, the Proud Boys said, okay, you want to go? Let's go. And if you watch the video, you can see a far leftist threw a water bottle at him, and they run forward, and a melee begins. I don't care who you want to argue was at fault or who started it, whatever. The Antifa far leftists showed up to a right-wing event. Fights broke out. When the police arrived, the far leftists ran away and refused to talk to the cops. The Proud Boys said, I backed the blue. So you, officer, tell me, and I'll tell you. Those Proud Boys went to prison for gang violence because they backed the blue. A lesson from the left, I suppose. Don't talk to cops. But so many on the right thought the officers are the good guys. They'll protect me. And then they went to prison. I think they're out by now because that was a long time ago. I think that was like 2019 or 2018 or something. All right, let's grab one more before we send you all to Jeremy Hambley of the Quartering. Kyle says, I made some funny political games you could play. Website will be in the Discord tonight. Keep an eye out. Interesting. Very, very cool. Tom Homan Pac-Man with Hunter Flappy Bird. Very fun. Guys, join our Discord server. Timcast.com, click join us. You get in the Discord community. We got 20,000 plus individuals right now. They're arguing, they're debating, they program video games. There's a fitness group. So if you're looking to get in shape, I tell you this, all the weight loss commercials, and anytime you ever hear somebody say, I'm going to make you better, you're going to pick up chicks, or you're going to lose weight, or you're going to make money. None of it matters. Only one thing matters. Community. Meeting individuals. You are the summation of the 5 people who surround you. And if all you do is stay home all day playing video games, you are not going to be surrounded by positive influences. Now, I understand a Discord chat is still just online, but it's a start. Meet people. And if it's not the Discord, I just mean this genuinely. Get out there into the world and find people. Now, what we saw here at Timcast was, where do you go? So we're working on physical franchises for Cast Brew, all in the works. Some will be launching. We're getting them going. And then if you go there, there will be meetups, there will be events, and you're going to meet people who you can be friends with and build network with. And for those that are just online trying to get started, the Discord community is a place for you. People have launched podcasts. And again, Fitcast IRL, people have lost hundreds of pounds. Some people actually got married. So my friends, I bid you adieu now as we begin the raid on Jeremy Hambly. So we're going to send you over to The Quartering, who is live now. It appears with Luke Rudkowski. I'm going to grab this and initiate the raid right now. You guys rock. I really do appreciate everybody for hanging out. I'm going to post the raid, and I'm going to drop the link in here for you guys so that you guys can see it. If, I want to say this one more time, just for everybody. I know a lot of people were hoping that the raid function, the switching over, would be like an instant 1-for-1 thing, where like at the 1 p.m. hour, you're instantly transported to my show, and at the at the noon hour, it instantly goes from Crowder to me. But really, this is a cultural phenomenon. It's a movement. You guys are watching us like people used to watch networks. You are tuning into Rumble as if it was a sphere of influence and not just a place to sometimes watch a video here and there. This is how we change the game. What I said to the guys at Rumble, and I said to the people we work with, why are we treating these platforms as if it's, when I turn on Fox News, after I get a blank screen, and then I have to look for Jesse Waters. No, you turn on Fox News, and they show you who's on. I said, YouTube puts Mr. Beast on the front page every time for everybody. They have said, this is our guy, and he gets hundreds of millions of views. That's how the networks work. So Rumble launched the Rumble morning lineup. You guys agreed, and now we've made this one of the biggest live lineups in the country, with several of the top shows in the country all back to back, and it's only really because you guys chose. So click the link, go watch Jeremy Hambly of The Quartering, hang out. Luke is hanging out. Luke's a good friend of mine, and we'll keep this thing going. We'll be back, of course, tonight at 8 p.m. at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. It's going to be a blast. Big news, of course. And then I'll say this for tomorrow, for those that are going to be tuning in, the Culture War is now going to be live at 11 a.m. And we're doing this to try and sync the Culture War, which is a 2-hour show, not a 1-hour show, with the Rumble lineup. So that means for the first hour, y'all will still be doing your thing, but the second hour of the Culture War, we'll be part of that Rumble lineup. We're working it out, but again, like I said, it's a cultural phenomenon, not so much a technological one, but big moves are coming. Tomorrow, we're going to be discussing the JFK files with a couple of experts. This one should get real juicy. Smash that like button, share the show with everyone you know. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast, and we will see you all tonight. Actually, we do have I have more segments coming out throughout the day, but then we're back at 8 p.m. See you guys later.